Hi, and welcome to Meet the Candidates 2018, a voter education program brought to you by the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. My name is Angie Whitcomb, and I'm joined today by House Rep 55A candidate Brad Tabke. Thanks for joining. That's a mouthful. Thanks for joining us here today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for always doing this.
So, Brad, why don't you start by telling our viewers at home a little bit about yourself and why you're running for this seat?
Yeah, thanks, Angie. First, I want to say thanks to the Chamber and everybody for watching this. These are extremely valuable pieces that are done for our community, and I'm really proud that you guys do this. And I used to be a Chamber member. Not used to be. I am a Chamber member. Used to be the chair of the board as well, and so really experienced what's going on with the Chamber. Honored to have been Shakopee's mayor from 2012 to 2016, where we worked on a lot of different projects together and built coalitions of people to work on getting a lot of different things done for and within our community. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. My wife Katie teaches at the high school, got 2 little girls and a rescue dog that we got last summer and backyard chickens. So excited about all of those things.
Very busy. All right, so Brad, what have you done in the past to improve the way government operates?
Thanks. I was really excited when I saw this question because one of the big things while I was mayor that we really wanted to work on a lot was the efficiency and success of governmental entities. And so one of the first things that we did was we got talked with people together and got coalitions within our council to work on right-sizing our city budget. So we got a lot of things cut out of the budget that didn't need to be there for the future, as well as we started to pay off debt that wasn't getting done, along with a bunch of other things to get our budget right-sized for the future of Shakopee and make it available for the investments that we needed to have done in our community. So I'm really proud of that work, which is now building on what had been done before us, and what's being done in the current council is resulting in tax reductions for our residents. So really excited about that. As well as while we were mayor, we hired an economic development coordinator, and she really helped get a lot of things going in the city for working with businesses to really improve the processes and how government works. And then on top of that, we did a lot with communication and transparency as mayor. And I want to continue a lot of those themes and ideas into the Minnesota legislature to help build more successful government to work for people and businesses of 55A.
There you go. So if you could write, sign, and pass 3 laws today, what would they be and why?
Thanks. This is actually a really tough question. This is, as I was working on these, the first one is really easy. It's a very obvious first thing that has to be done at the Minnesota legislature. There were a lot of things left on the table after the last session. Our governor and the legislature couldn't work together to get things done, so the state of Minnesota is out of tax conformity with the federal government right now, and for all of our small businesses and all of our residents, we must fix that. And so that's the very first thing, along with a transportation bill that didn't get done as well in the last session. Those are the first things that must be worked on, and obviously not something that I, as a new legislator, would write and sign, but those are the first things that we'd have to work on in the legislature to get done in order just to have successful government moving forward. The next thing that I'd really want to work on is work on affordable housing. So we have a lot of regulations in our state government that don't need to be there, that are increasing the cost of housing. And one of the big things that we're talking a lot about with residents and businesses in Shakopee is workforce development, and we have to have housing for our workers that's affordable. So if people in Shakopee have kids that grow up and move away, right now we have very little housing for them to come back in and invest in our community and grow, build businesses and grow families here in our community. So the second thing I would work on is affordable housing. And then the third bill that I would like to work on in the legislature is Minnesota has a really wide achievement gap in racial inequality right now, and it's unconscionable to me that we are second in the state in places to raise a family, but we're also third to last in the nation for racial inequities in Minnesota. And so we must focus on racial equality and working for building everyone up in our state. And the first thing I'd like to do is work on fully funded pre-K in order to begin that education piece for helping make everyone successful in the state and not just leaving people behind.
Brad, chamber members have difficulty finding an adequate number of skilled workers at a sustainable wage. What do you believe is government's role in helping the Minnesota businesses address this issue?
Yeah, there is employers from all over Shakopee are having a major issue with this, not just in Shakopee, but across the region, across the state. Availability of high quality workforce is just not there for as fast as businesses are growing today. And so the state has to really work on things that they should have been working on for the last 10 years, but just haven't as much as they should have been working on transportation, which is we have to have high quality roads, bridges, and transit, and a good mix of those things. We have to work on education and educating our students for the future workforce, so emphasizing technical colleges and not just going to four-year colleges, but working with your hands and the trades and emphasizing those kinds of things, as well as, like we already talked about, with housing. We must have locally available housing in order to provide the workers for our local workforce.
Perfect, great. So you've sort of touched on the answer to this next question, but I'm going to bring it back up again because I think it's worthy. So as a Minnesota businesses, many chamber members pay Minnesota taxes, which, as you stated, ranks third highest in the nation at 9.8%. Mm-hmm. You already said we should become more competitive. Mm-hmm. How would you propose doing that?
Yeah, definitely. So there are study after study after study that show high corporate taxes reduce the amount of individual income taxes that come into the state coffers. And so it's really important that we start to work that down as we find monies available to do that. And so as our economy continues to grow, that's one thing I would really like to see the legislature pulling down, is that corporate tax. That being said, as well, Minnesota is also ranked really highly in great places to do businesses. But the thing that I'm most concerned about with the tax structure where we're at is the individual income tax. It hits high earners and people who are doing really well in our current system, and that's very good, but it disproportionately hits our medium and small business owners because that personal income tax rides through, and so they get hit really hard when we have higher personal income tax levels. And so we need to find a way at the Minnesota legislature to pull down and blunt the impact that those high income taxes, those high personal income taxes has on our small and medium-sized businesses.
Great. So what would you say are Shakopee's biggest transportation issues? And if elected, how would you work to address them?
Yeah, I love this question because it is the number one thing. The Bloomington Ferry Bridge is the number one transportation issue that we have. We have back when I first became mayor, we had about 80% of our workforce leaving town each day, and of the jobs in town, we had between 60 and 70% were taken up by people outside of our community. So our workforce did not match our jobs available in town, and so that's why we worked really hard to bring in high wage jobs to start to fix that mismatch within our community. So Entrust Data Card and Emerson and Shutterfly, with a lot of the graphic design jobs and things that they have in their businesses, that was the number one reason why we did that, and that sparked a lot of other high wage investment that went along with that with other businesses. And so transportation, the congestion that we see every single day trying to get across the bridge, simply won't be solved by adding more lanes to the bridge. We know from fact that anytime you expand lanes, it works for a short amount of time, but it doesn't work for the long term. So we have to add lanes, but we also have to do that in conjunction with other things, and that's investing in transit and helping people when they are going to work from Shakopee to Eden Prairie or Minnetonka or anywhere on the 169 corridor where we have the most jobs in the state, that we need to help get people there by using other forms of transportation so we can prioritize the business that needs to get conducted along that corridor. So transportation issue that we have is the Bloomington Ferry Bridge, and so we need to work that with a comprehensive mix of transportation solutions.
All right. Well, to wrap this up, why don't you address the viewers and let them know why they should cast their vote for you on November 6th?
Thanks, Angie. And again, thanks for doing this. It's always great sitting down and talking with you. Looking forward to all the other items that we're going to have for the debates and things as we move forward. But I am really proud of how so far we have conducted our campaign and worked toward November 6th, and hopefully you can vote for us on November 6th. We have a great coalition of people who are working together for the future of Shakopee, Jackson Township, and Louisville Township, and the state of Minnesota. And so we want to work on workforce development is our number one thing. It's critical that we focus on the future of workforce development. Second is bridging our gaps between the differences in our community. We need to embrace who we are. That will help our workforce. That will help who we are as a community. And the third one is good governance. And so I hope that people will see and notice the civility and the work that we want to do together, and that you will give me a call and we can have chats. We're door knocking. We are knocking on thousands of doors. We just hit 2,000 doors last night that I've done myself, and had just great conversations with people who want to see Shakopee continue moving forward and want to see people working together to accomplish that. So that I hope that we can earn your vote between now and November 6th. And you can go to tabkeformn.com if you want to learn more about the issues and where we stand on things.
Great. And as always, we'd like to thank the candidates and the service that you are performing by running for office for our community, and for the time and effort you're putting into it. The views expressed in these interviews are those of the candidates and not of the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. We provide this service for you, the voters, so that you have all of the information you need to make an informed decision on November 6th.